King Arthur came a lot, didn't he?
I think you mean that he's associated with the court of Camelot.
No, it definitely says King Arthur came a lot.
Camelot.
Camelot. Yeah.
Hey, fun fans, it's We Enjoy. After a week away, we're back with news and Use. We are the Mattitude Eric. I am Matt Fowler. Say hello, Eric Goldman.
Hello, everybody.
I am back from Berlin, which is where I was. Berlin, Eric, I did a 4-hour tour of the Hansa Studios, where David Bowie and Iggy Pop recorded pivotal albums, and then Depeche Mode, and then Nick Cave, and then a lot of greats recorded there. Then it closed down for like 15 years, and then it opened back up. Anyway.
I was just mentioning to Matt that in college, when I did a semester in Europe, I went to both Berlin and Munich, and in Berlin, there is a studio, and I always forget where Neverending Story 1 was shot, Neverending Story 3 was shot, because at one of those studios, Neverending Story, either 1 or 3 was shot. The one in Berlin is where they also made Metropolis, though. And they had, so, I mean, obviously that goes way the fuck back. And they had, like, a recreation of Maria, and she moved around, and, you could watch Maria be Maria. Maria the Robot, Metropolis.
I did the DDR Museum, which is, this really cool exhibit about what life was like living in East Berlin behind the wall, like everything from their cars to their apartments to like their work life and living situations. Anyway, all that stuff. It was really cool. Did a 4-hour tour of that Hansa studio, like I said. Did Record Store Day there, because I usually do it here, obviously in the States, but did it there. Ate a ton of vegan food because it is a vegan paradise. And what else? Some other things. I won't bore everyone, but I did sort of have my head in the sand. I not only was I not at CinemaCon, and you were and you're going to tell us all about it as we play catch up news. I also wasn't paying the most attention to things. I mean, I think I think I got the big bullet points, but man, was it great to like not have my nose buried within entertainment news. So
Absolutely.
I mean, I did know Patrick Muldoon died because he's not as popular as David Hasselhoff, but people in Germany, I guess, loved the Patrick Muldoon.
Aww.
Anyway, maybe because he had a Hasselhoff appeal to him. He was soapy. He was a soapy guy, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Babelsberg Studio, right set out of Berlin. Neverending Story 3 was shot there. And since I was there, a shitload like Captain America: Civil War, Hunger Games, shitload of Bourne Ultimatum. A lot of things have shot there, and it goes back to 1912. It's the oldest large-scale studio in the world. There you go.
Went to the Berlin Botanical Gardens too, Eric.
That sounds
largest
lovely.
botanical gardens in all of Europe. Munich is another city that I really liked, and it has the best vegan pizza I've ever had, called Dr. Drooly's, which is a terrible name, but or a great name. I don't know. Dr. Drooly's will return in Doomsday.
I mean, it's a memorable name, so that's
that's what they're going for. I guess we'll just talk about this since I already sort of said it. Patrick Muldoon died. It means more to our generation, I suppose, than maybe if we have younger listeners.
Yeah.
But if anyone watched Days of Our Lives in sort of the mid-90s, you'd know him, or Melrose Place. We're talking TV.
Yes.
And then followed up kind of directly with Starship Troopers.
Right. Which pointedly, the whole joke of that movie is that everyone is like impossibly beautiful soap opera looking actors, many of them because they were on soaps. Because that was sort of the whole point of making a movie that's like a propaganda film for a fictional, war against aliens, was to cast these hyper attractive, square jawed people in it. But it's funny because obviously his heyday is the 90s. If you look at his, he's one of those people who is still working. I think like this weekend he has a movie out with Denise Richards that's mostly straight to streaming.
With Denise Richards?
With Denise Richards, yes.
With so it was a ST reunion?
Yes, it was SC reunion. But yes, because my friend Adam Dusavar was a Days of Our Lives fanatic, so I saw Days of Our Lives because of him. So I knew Patrick Muldoon from then. A bunch of us were into Melrose Place, so I knew. So it's like I watched all the things that he was like a part of, and then Starship Troopers. It's just I love that movie, and I wish him a million times. We don't have to talk too much about him, not to disrespect him, because I do know he has a very specific sort of following. I'll just say it was one of those things that was like sad to hear. He's 57, super in shape, and had a heart attack. So life can just kind of suck like that. For anyone at any time. So that sucks. But also it was very nice to see he really seemed, Matt, universally beloved, because all of his co-stars from all the things we just mentioned like really wrote nice things about him. Like it just felt like, oh, this was like a good guy. And Denise Richards was like, I met him when I was 19 in an acting class. He was 21. So it turns out they're like lifelong friends.
Yeah.
And it was, yeah. Casper M. Dia, which I forget the actress's name, but Carrie from Days of Our Lives, like all these people put very, very sweet things about him. And it was just, we talked about James Van Der Beek obviously was more famous kind of in the larger scale, but it's one of those things of like a person of a certain era. It's way too early.
What I'll say is this. Well, firstly, I think he announced like just recently on Instagram that he was in this movie. I don't know if he already shot his scenes for it, but he's in some Chris Hemsworth Zazie Beetz movie that's coming out. Whether or not he got to film it, I don't know. But sometimes when we're doing casting stories and we have a couple this episode, and we're like, what do I know them from? And then I look at their filmography or IMDb or whatever, and I'm just sort of like, oh man, this person just sort of danced between the raindrops for me, right? Like, right. They're in a ton of things, but I've seen none of them. And then there's somebody who like Patrick Muldoon, which is like growing up, we just sort of hit everything he was in. And so
we should have said Saved by the Bell.
Saved by the Bell. So it's like everything that we were watching, he was in. And it could have been, there's other people with different watching habits may have seen nothing he was in.
Exactly.
He didn't watch the Melrose Place. He didn't see Starship, all these things. And he was just somebody who landed on everything we were our watching habits as fans of whatever of pulpy genre soap stuff.
Right.
Anyway,
right.
But so it's very common now for somebody to just, even now more than ever because of streaming, like Harold Perrineau, I haven't seen in a decade because he's been locked in that Epix show that I will never watch.
Well, don't say you'll never watch it, because one day if it's on Netflix or Prime or something.
I know, but by that point I'll still have a 5-page list of things I need to watch, and it'll be on the bottom. My point is, someone will disappear and be like, everyone's like, whatever happened to Wes Bentley? And they're like, oh, Yellowstone, right? Like things, they'll just be gone on shows forever. And that started like 15 years ago, even just with cable shows, right?
I just had this conversation. I can't remember if it was on Blue Sky or Twitter, but
is it From?
It's From, which just got renewed for a 5th and final season on what is now MGM Plus. I believe that used to be called Epix. But someone recently was like, oh, whatever happened to Kristen Crook? I loved her. And it's like, Kristen Crook is currently starring on her 3rd series as a lead. The other 2 lasted 4 seasons each. And it's like, she is a ongoing successful actress who makes shows in Canada. She's obviously made the decision she doesn't want to leave Canada, so her shows are Canadian produced. CW's picked up some of them. So it's like she's doing fine for herself. It's just, yes, as we get more fragmented, especially, you're just not going to be hyper aware that these people are in stuff. Wes Bentley's a great example because Yellowstone is a massive hit, but it's like, I haven't seen him in anything in a long time.
But also, to Yellowstone's point, Josh Lucas was on that show, right?
Yes.
Again, these people who are, So anyway, they could just be on these long-running shows in an alternate fandom universe.
Yep.
All right. Before we get into the remaining sort of like separate news stories, let's dive into CinemaCon here. And I'll let you take the lead on this, what you want to talk about first, and the progression of how you want to talk about things. CinemaCon. I did watch the trailers just this morning.
Okay, good. Because CinemaCon is one of those tricky things, more so than Comic-Con. Comic-Con does this to some extent, but CinemaCon does it a lot, which is a few things are put online. Like a few things, either the very day, or in the case of CLAYFACE, like 5 days later, right? They put out that same thing we saw. But a lot of things that are shown at CinemaCon are not released anytime soon.
It is not a fan event.
Not a fan event. Yeah.
Right.
Again, it's for theater owners. It is a dog and pony show to say to theater owners, our movies will be the biggest hits, making claims they're not going to all be able to
It
back
is
up.
the movie version of the upfronts. Yes.
Yeah, yes. This is why you should book our movies. And they get these big stars to come out there and do some terrible scripted banter. Yeah. Oh man, Matt, some of it's so bad. You know what I really hate is when they have them not even talk like humans because they're almost continuing the same sentence. Like, and that's why we love going to the movies because the next person picks up with because, and it's like, no, like no one talks like that. The best, I can't remember who did this. One studio had Patton Oswalt host, and it was way better because obviously the questions were all scripted ahead of time. Obviously the talent knew what he was going to ask, yet they could still answer naturally. Like there was still some feel of people talking to each other, unlike the super rigid way when they come out and have to say it feels weird because it's such big stars and they're having to say this really terrible scripted stuff. Anyway, although Sandra Bullock did get Nicole Kidman to say we come to this place for magic while promoting Practical Magic 2, and that was pretty great.
Do you think she got her to say it, or do you think Nicole Kidman kind of wants to say it everywhere she goes?
Maybe it's to Sandra Bullock's credit that even if they planned it, it felt like a Sandy Bullock natural moment. So.
By the way, I just watched, long international flights. I watched a couple movies that I hadn't seen, and some I don't. Is like I watched Devil Wears Prada because I know maybe I've seen it all the way through, but I wanted a refresher. I know I've seen most of it, but I watched The Proposal, a rom-com I've always wanted to watch.
Never seen it.
Delightful, Eric. Yeah. You should watch The Proposal.
I've heard good things about it. So Matt, well, here we'll start with you because I already.
All right, let's just start with Avengers because, and obviously, so that was the thing. Even when I was away overseas, I was like, oh man, they showed stuff. I kind of don't want to read. I don't want to read descriptions of it. I want to see it. So here's the thing. It's weird. I'm not gonna. I'll watch a leak. I won't wait for theaters. You know what I mean? With something like that, I'll watch it on my phone. I don't give a shit. I'll still like it when I see it in theaters on the big screen. I don't need to wait. But what I won't do first is read a description of the trailer.
Sure.
So that's where I draw the line. It's just somebody telling me what happened. I caught a few spoilers, but that's just because they were in tweets already. But I was watching. I was like, man, not one single stinking leak. Also, I was getting to it late because of the time difference. So any leak would have been squashed anyway.
Dude, but the security there. I mean, first of all, the majority of the audience is theater owners. They're not going to leak shit because this is their bread and butter, making money off you buying a ticket. But second, so really the only place leaks going to come from is the press section, which does have now in 2026 way more influencers and young YouTubers who were there way more for Disney.
I need them. I hate them. But if anything I could rely on them for is to fucking be entitled rule breakers, right?
But they tried. A few of them tried, Matt, and they had crazy night vision. Like I saw it happen where the green laser pointer would go on someone who had something out. I heard like right near me, people were like, being taken out, like,
good.
Headshots.
Oh man, I hope they were fucking flogged.
No,
I want that leak, but also I want influencers publicly punished anyway. Yeah.
It led to a big discourse about the fact that, yes, I understand. A lot of us, I think, are on the same page, which is times are changing. We understand this. We understand that influencers are now a thing. But what does seem egregious, and I know this is funny. I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's hypocritical coming from us because, yes, we're going to talk about Avengers first because we're really excited about Avengers. But we're going to talk about other stuff. And one thing that we said makes it really annoying is that if you're an influencer and you manage to get a pass to the Disney presentation because you want content for Avengers Doomsday, that's well and good, but can you please do two things, which is one, be respectful and shut up during everything else, even if you don't care about it.
Oh, because they only care about the one or two things.
Right. But B, they also, it's like, couldn't they talk about the other stuff a little bit? Say, oh, this, I didn't know about this movie, but this looked good. Because if they're only talking about like the 3 comic book movies and Dune, like, it's like, talk about other stuff too. And it was funny because sitting behind me were these two guys who, it's like they didn't know anything about anything, Matt, except for Avengers. So when the studio execs are just saying their bullet points about what a great year Disney had, and when they're like, and Lilo and Stitch made $1 billion, they're like, what? what? Like, it's like it's like they're not following any news about anything, so it's all shocking. Like, what was a hit?
It's crazy because I feel like when we were growing up, if we were ignorant about something, we wouldn't loudly broadcast it.
Yes.
Like, oh man, I'm so stupid about all these things. Everyone's gonna know about it.
I gotta pass this thing. But yes, Avengers, they were squashing any of that. So yeah, I won't say then, Matt. I won't say specifics of what I saw. I'll just say it was a really cool trailer that got people legitimately hyped. And yes, I was sitting amongst the people who'd be most hyped on a visceral fanboy level. But it also felt like the whole room of theater owners were like, "That will make us money, yay!" They were very excited.
I'm gonna say this, Eric. I got fooled by one leak for about 30 seconds.
Sure.
Because people do it for clicks. It fooled me. I stayed, but Eric, I stayed for the whole thing. Someone made a really impressive looking, all from their own graphic studio or whatever, scene of Victor Von Doom basically killing the Council of Kangs, which is like it's like the opener where it's like the exiled one is dead. He who remains no longer controls the multiverse. What are we gonna do? It's like, well, he's like, you know what that means? The king of the multiverse is here. And anyway, Doom enters and they try to stop him, but he's too. Anyway, it's a whole thing. And I was like, this is great. I wish this was the opening to Doomsday, because it actually closes off the Kang thing. Which I don't know if we'll get closure on. But anyway.
We don't know.
Yeah. But anyway, it's really scary and also impressive. So there you go.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get a lot of that, dude. I'm thinking about that a lot. How we're gonna get all these fake footage things, and it's good because I saw sometimes they'll even do. It's like they're at the point now, especially with AI and shit. It's like not only can they create quickly a fake trailer, but they can add make it look like it was filmed off a screen. It's like make it sell that this was a bootleg, and stuff like that.
We have a lot to talk about, and I'm going to derail this again because there's a story. As I was poking around news stories this morning, even though you filled out the docket mostly, there's a whole new photo leak or some shit from Brand New Day, and now it's like fans know who Sadie Sink is playing based on this photo or this costume. Have you seen this?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to say it. So anyone who doesn't want to hear.
This is not going to be a well-kept secret, but yeah.
Whatever. Tune out for a minute or whatever. Yeah. Eric, they said that she's playing Typhoid Mary, which, true or not, let's say if it's true, it's weird because they've done so much now to sort of bring back Daredevil and, bring back the actors playing them, have Charlie Cox, in a Spider-Man movie already. Now they're going to have Punisher in a Spider-Man movie. They did Typhoid Mary on the Netflix shows on Iron Fist.
Yes, they did.
So it's like, that would be weird, A, if that was her character in this movie anyway. I think that would be a weird choice. But B, it'd be weird to duplicate a character.
And C, that Sadie Sink's secret character in a Spider-Man sequel, who's also going to be in Secret Wars, if the rumors are true.
Is Typhoid Mary?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. That's not gonna be it. Yes, granted, Iron Fist season 2 is probably the least watched Netflix Marvel show, but that's not gonna.
But it was the one where they decided it would be 8 episodes, which was merciful.
And they did decide it would be
or 10 or something. Whatever.
Yeah, it was 10. It'd be much better than season 1, but it didn't matter at that point. Anyway, Avengers stuff looked rad. And yes, I obviously it doesn't erase everything. It doesn't make it not weird that we haven't had any real build up to Doom except for one tiny mid-credit scene in Fast 4. I understand that. I just say this looks really cool. It has some characters meeting each other and fighting each other that, yes, I get it. If you're I'm done with all this, you're not going to care. But if you're, say, two guys who've been following Marvel characters since the 80s, you are going to care. The X-Men stuff is going to be innately thrilling just to see them interacting with these characters, and that it is the Fox X-Men, so there's this history. Anyway, it was very, very cool.
All right.
But Matt, mention because there are these trailers I listed that are out there. Anything jump out?
So yeah, so I want to talk about first of all, Spaceballs isn't really a trailer. It's 100-year-old or 99-year-old Mel Brooks talking about it.
Yeah,
telling us the name. Excited about this project, Eric. Not a great title. I think they could have gone with a funnier title. Anyway, it's called Spaceballs, the new one. Mm-hmm. It is. I mean, it does not have to be called Spaceballs 2: The Search for More Money, though that would be very funny.
They
because
acknowledge it. I mean,
they do. That's part of that's part of what he's talking about.
Yeah.
I always loved that rumored Spaceballs 3: The Search for Spaceballs 2. That never happened.
Yep. Yep.
But the new one doesn't. I feel like I feel like there were funnier options, and they should have taken a second or third pass on that. Anyway, I'm still excited about Spaceballs. No footage there anyway, but it's fun.
Not for you, Matt. Not for you. Because we got the Mel video and we got a whole montage. Yeah.
But we did. I did see the Street Fighter trailer, which I assume you just saw that. You probably saw more. Who knows? But anyway, that looks great. And the thing is, I was never a huge fan of the arcade fighting games. Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat weren't my things. I played them and I'd play for 2 rounds, but I never liked them enough to learn any special moves or have any finishers memorized or anything like that. I just sort of super casually played that shit. But anyway, this looks super fun. It feels like a lot of movies we're seeing these days are taking cues from the James Gunn blueprint of tone and music and stuff like that, especially even if it's just a trailer cut. But that's what this felt like, a very Suicide Squad-ish Street Fighter movie.
Yes, but I think what really stood out to me, so I think it looks great. Like, I watched this trailer multiple times. Actually, so there was a big event for this, Matt, and CinemaCon can be long fucking days. And so there was one day where Amazon MGM's presentation was at 8:30 to 10:30 at night, and then there was a special Paramount trailer debut event for the Street Fighter trailer that had most of the cast at it. I got a picture with Cody Rhodes as Guile. That was exciting because he's doing the whole John Cena Peacemaker thing of promoting the movie dressed as the character. But I thought,
and that was before his WrestleMania match.
Yes,
just a few days later, he'd have to main event WrestleMania.
I know,
and get his eye fucked up.
Get his Guile eye fucked up.
Yeah.
No, I thought this trailer was so fun because tonally, I think I love that it leans into this is goofy. We are not trying to make this grounded and serious. And what really stood out to me, I get the James Gunn of it all, but really stood out to me on a martial arts level is it feels like those funny kung fu movies, like the silly, we're just having fun here. Some of Jackie Chan stuff, but the ones that really go for it stylistically get wacky. And so I really appreciated that as far as it just feels like it really nailed it. Also, it's funny that Four Non Blondes What's Up was also featured in the footage from Masters of the Universe shown.
By the way, you know who's playing Berlin next month?
Four Non Blondes?
Four Non Blondes.
Fuck, wow.
I mean, Berlin is a city with a lot of street art, like graffiti and posters. It's like a really big man. So taken back to the days of seeing posters on everything, buildings, fences, everything. So a lot of Four Non Blondes concert posters in the city.
I didn't realize they'd reunited because Linda Perry has made so much money as a writer producer for huge artists.
Couldn't she just be Four Non Blondes?
Yeah,
I don't know if the band's intact.
Oh, so the band has a name, just came back last year. I guess. Hey,
I'm just saying, Trent Reznor. Well, now it is Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, but forever, Nine Inch Nails was a one-man show. He would have musicians he'd tour with or perform with on a regular basis, but he was anyway. But now it's a two-man show.
Well,
I'm saying Four Non Blondes could be one non-blonde,
but it is the people from the early '90s. I'm looking at the line. Anyway,
they're not on the poster. I'll tell you that much.
Usually, when you hear the same song at these events, it's very common. It's going to be a recent, Chappelle Roan, Chappell Roan. It's going to be
I love her on Chappelle's show. Yeah.
the new Chappelle show. It's going to be a recent hit that multiple studios are let's put this hip song in our thing. So it was funny to hear What's Up used twice so prominently. Anyway, yeah, that was a real standout to me. What did you think of the Clayface trailer?
So I want to talk about Clayface because I'm fascinated by this movie, especially because James Watkins has directed 2 of the most fucked up horror movies that have ever been made. He is the maybe uncrowned king of the horror movies I don't really like, which, as I've talked about, the unabashed home invasion, just we're going to torture the heroes and that's the whole movie and there's no happy ending.
Sure.
Which would be Eden Lake and Speak No Evil. To bring him on board, an actual horror director for this Clayface movie, which looks horror forward, but also could exist alongside the Batman universe. You know what I mean? That's not part of the DCEU, the Robert Pattinson or Penguin TV show or anything like that.
DCU, they dropped the E for this iteration.
Whatever, I know that. I knew that, my mouth didn't know it, but yeah. So Clayface feels like it could be like if they had shown a clip of like Colin Farrell as Penguin, I would be like, oh, this feels like this fits here. But this is part of James Gunn's like movies are going to be different genres and different feels and different ratings and stuff like that. And this does not feel. Is this the first DCU project that doesn't feel comedic? As far as like, it's like even if it's like rated R or PG-13 comedic, this doesn't feel like it has a light bone in its body. But anyway, super excited about it. Looks substancy and disturbing, and I don't know, just kind of small scale horror thriller. That's what it looks like. It looks cool. And if we're talking about things quote unquote borrowing from the James Gunn playbook, it uses the Flaming Lips song that was famously featured also in Guardians 3, but a distorted version that just focuses on the one "You have such a beautiful face" line over and over again. Yeah, so
I thought this
if anyone's
was really cool.
got trouble with his lips, it's going to be Clayface. Am I right?
It looks really yes. It's a teaser. It's quick, but great final shot and very intriguing to sort of see this different direction here, because so much of what we're getting early in the movie side is so Superman forward. And I did see someone say, but Crypto still shows up in the mid-credit scene.
We have talked about this, so just to mention once again that Mike Flanagan wrote this movie, did not direct it. It is James Watkins. And also we mentioned the fact that Clayface exists within this universe already, voiced by Alan Tudyk on Creature Commandos.
Right.
And we don't know how this ties together, really.
Right. I know some people are like, oh, they already said it was the same guy, but I don't know what they said. I can't, but it doesn't have to be the same guy, because in the comic books, there's been like 4 or 5 people who've been Clayfaces. Right. And so we'll see what they do here. And yes, as Matt said, this is the DCU. This is the same universe as Superman. It's not the same universe as the Batman.
It's already confusing me, and I know better. Yeah. So yeah.
But I think the one thing people need to remember is, and I love Matt Reeves as a filmmaker, and I loved his version of Batman, but frustratingly, he doesn't want to have superpowers in his Batman movies. So like there is a kind of a line there where it's like, yeah, this might seem like it would fit with the Pattinson Batman, except Matt Reeves doesn't want there to be superpowers in that version of Batman. So,
all right, Evil Dead Burn looks great. I mean, it was the teaser is like a oneer of this girl crawling through a house while deadite chaos and carnage is happening around her, and people get dragged out of frame in front of her. And I have not yet seen Lee Cronin's The Mummy. I know people are saying it feels very Evil Dead-y. At least, I don't know if it's Deadite themed, but I guess maybe just in tone and look of like the creature or whatever.
The tone he brought to Evil Dead Rise was certainly there. Evil Dead Burn is an interesting case, Matt, because we didn't see this teaser at all. We see a totally different trailer that maybe will probably be the actual trailer.
Deadite singing "What's Going On" or "What's Up."
Yes. Yeah. That was just like showing you a lot more sort of like not plot, but showing you a lot more of the characters, where I was going. But I loved both. Like I thought like the trailer they showed us was really cool and suitably Evil Dead with some crazy shit happening, but that this oneer was a really cool approach too. We actually saw 2 seconds of footage from Evil Dead Wrath as well. It involved self-mutilation and puking. So Sam Raimi, who did introduce the footage, it had his stamp of approval all over it.
Yeah, well, that's what more can you ask for from an Evil Dead movie or any movie, really? That's why I watched The Proposal for self-mutilation and puking.
Yes, it's really how you rate all films.
And that was just Betty White in that movie.
The opening scene.
Okay, so then I'm trying to think.
Here,
I want to try to hit things a little quick, but
yeah, exactly.
I'll let you talk about it. But Game of Thrones movie that was confirmed, that was Aegon's Conquest or whatever, right?
And literally confirmed by putting up a giant list of titles coming in the next few years, and it was on it.
Okay, giant list of Game of Thrones titles?
No, WB movie titles. Yeah,
got it. Because I was like, did they give me? I'm all for any announcement information you might have about an Arya show. Okay, I know this is movies, not TV, but yeah, Hans, this is radio, not television. Then theatrical exclusive windows open wider.
Just that this was the talk. Again, who is this aimed at? It's studios talking to theater owners, and I will say you really saw every single studio, I saw an article mentioning this, like in one of the trades, that every studio is committing to 45 days going forward. That, we're seeing, Universal just announced it starting next year, because they were the ones notoriously putting things out after like 2 weeks if it didn't do open well, that they're doing away with that. 45 days seems to be the minimum. That, Amazon MGM's like, we're not gonna put Project Hail Mary on digital yet because it's doing so well, to big applause. And so it definitely seems, again, the studios all made a big mistake that they're trying to undo now, in the COVID era, of like, shortening the windows to this extreme that made a lot of people stop going to the movies because like, well, it'll just be at home really soon. And the problem is, of course, now, can they undo that lesson, But they're going to try because they want to make money.
But then when people resurfaced and decided they wanted to try to go back to theaters again, prices were really high and audiences were ruder than ever. So
there were less movies.
Yeah, it just led to everyone's like, oh, well, I'm just going to go back to watching at home because going to the movie theater sucks. So yeah.
But yeah, so that's the big thing, which I wholeheartedly endorse. So yeah, we're going to see movies staying in theaters exclusively, because it was never like we're pulling the movie, although obviously if it was a bomb, it would be leaving anyway quickly. This is just saying it will not be at home for a longer period of time, and so that continues to get longer. It was interesting to see head of Sony, Tom Rothman. He did kind of chastise the theaters for having a half hour of trailers, although I guess the theater owners were like, well, you need to give us a solution of like,
we need to make money.
Yeah.
I mean, did he also say, and popcorn shouldn't be $10? I was like, well, this is the only way they make money. What are you talking about?
I do think they need to figure out how to get those pre-shows quicker, because again, it's all it's all a domino effect, because as he mentioned, the problem is that now that it's so egregious, people just show up a half hour in.
They do.
So they're not seeing the commercials and trailers.
Yep.
It's
the only way you can hit the YouTube skip button for an ad in a theater scenario. Is you just, especially if it's like an AMC or Cinemark, you're like, you're good. If you're 25 minutes late to the movie, you're still good.
Yeah.
Maybe they just, I don't know. The one thing, and I know there must be data that it works, but ads about their own goddamn concession stand are always weird. It's usually the theater. There'll be 3 ads about the theater chain itself.
AMC has 4 now, and here's the thing: AMC A-List is amazing, and it just went up here. I'm in one of the areas of the country where it went up to $30, $29.99 for someone like me. Absolutely worth it, because $29.99, as long as I see 2 movies, or even mostly 1 IMAX movie a month, I'm good, and I will see at least 2 movies a month. So, has a deal, that's a great deal. The fact that they have the audacity to show me 4 promos for AMC, including Nicole Kidman, which I'm all about the Nicole Kidman, but guys, 2 is your max. 1 before the trailers, 1 after. That should be it. Right now it's 1 before the trailers, 3 after the trailers.
Yeah.
Stop telling me about your theater. I'm sitting in it. I'm sitting in your theater.
We're such old people yelling. That's great. Okay.
Let me yell about AI.
Please, let's keep this.
We talked about
boomer thing rolling. Yeah, we've talked about AI Val Kilmer. Is there anything more I need to know about this against my will? I don't want this to just
be a boomer thing, and I don't think it is. I think there are people of all ages, I hope, are creeped out by this. They debuted the trailer, which you can watch online, for As Deep as the Grave. This was a individual press conference deal, Matt. Like, this was a last minute thing where they booked a little room to debut this trailer and have a Q&A, a moderated Q&A with the filmmakers of this movie, talk about it. And it was really funny because they stacked the room with people to cheer loudly at the end of the trailer, as though it was like all of us cheering, but it wasn't. And
so disgusting.
And they just seem like, I don't know, they just seem like the kind of guys.
Well, we already talked about the fact that if they just went ahead and recast this movie and didn't do Val Kilmer and any of that, no one would mention this movie or know about it or care about it.
Right.
It's just a whatever, straight to VOD movie of no consequence. And this is a way to make people pay attention to the movie, and it feels super gross. It just feels like this is a way of they're getting buzz about this for this movie, and and they're subscribing to the all publicity is good publicity type thing. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, because and everything they said, because it's like, oh, this is a huge role. I put in air quotes because there's no human here, is in an hour and 17 minutes of what I guess is like a mega long movie right now. It's, still being edited, but it's like, okay, I understand he was cast in the movie, he was too sick to do the movie, and then they decided to cut the role, but then they decided no, the role's too important. Why
They
not
decided the role was too important because they could get headlines for it.
Yes, because everything they said doesn't add up, because they said, oh, when they're asked by Variety, why not just cast another actor? They're like, oh, we're a small indie and we couldn't go back into production. But I'm looking at this, I'm like, okay, but you spent money to do this AI version, and you can say, but now it's cost efficient. But if they had, yes, there are, putting any AI in a movie is going to be controversial right now. But Matt, what if they'd done this? What if, because I only had one question I could ask afterwards, they're doing the bullet thing, like one question each. And I did ask, what were these people, the other actors, acting against if you thought that you were cutting this? And they hemmed and hawed, but it basically sounded like, they basically took performances that were meant for interacting with different characters and changed it so they're talking to the Val Kilmer character. But I'm like, look, if you had just cast a different actor, shot him in front of a green screen, and AI recreated the backgrounds you couldn't go back and reshoot, some people might grumble about that, but they wouldn't be nearly as pissed and creeped out by, we're gonna put a fake Val Kilmer.
We just talked about them doing that on From Russia with Love, by the way. Like, it wasn't an AI background, but when they did reshoots, they shot Pleb in front of like it was a matte painting or a green screen or whatever. Yeah. So, and
I think shit like that is going to probably happen more and more. But yeah, so I think you're absolutely right. Yeah, it's like this was a way to get people talking about this movie, because, by the way, that's literally what they said. It's like, oh, everyone's talking about, because they're trying to sell. They don't have a distributor yet.
Well, why is everyone talking about our movie that we clearly designed to make people talk about?
Yeah.
Okay. And then what do you have to say about the things you saw of Odyssey, Dune, Disclosure Day, Supergirl, and I like that you included Beekeeper 2 on here.
Well, here's the thing.
A movie I did see.
I'll just go super.
Don't spoil Disclosure Day for me. I know that because they're trying to keep the third act out of.
Yeah, which was great. Spielberg said they are purposely keeping the third act out of any marketing, because he didn't use the example I instantly thought of, but he said, because audiences are savvy these days and they'll have in their mind, I haven't seen that shot yet. I always go to the first Avengers and Hulk catching Iron Man, and how much it bugged me that I knew we hadn't seen that shot yet. And so
you knew that you knew he'd catch him when he was falling out of the wormhole.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that he said that. They debuted really good footage, much more exciting than anything they'd put out before.
Yeah, I will say that it's not the trailers aren't that exciting.
No, but this was way better, more intriguing. I was more into like the dynamic that we're seeing here between the Emily Blunt and Josh O'Connor characters, and that it looked really cool. It looked like kind of like some Close Encounters with like a darker tinge to it, as we're doing our Spielberg run. Odyssey was actually one of the biggest letdowns, only because it was 90% that extended IMAX footage that came out last year. And I don't know if you saw that, Matt, with the Trojan horse sequence, but it was pretty much almost all that same stuff. And it was kind of weird that they just showed that same stuff again. But I mean, I'm still psyched for the movie, but it was a weird thing. Dune was awesome. It was the first 7 minutes of the movie, and it was a really cool sequence that plays like sort of a World War II or Vietnam, like, soldiers going to war sequence. And I was very into the sequence they showed us. Supergirl was cool. It was not like one of the big standouts to me. It was a fun sequence from early in the movie. And Beekeeper 2 is here, Matt, because it was one of the greatest things I've ever seen. Spoilers for the Beekeeper 2, but just the fact that this was it. I enjoyed the first Beekeeper. Jason Statham. I'm glad we have a Jason Statham these days. Him and Gerard Butler.
He and Jerry B are the only like actors who can get a theatrical release for their sort of their B movies, for
their Van Damme Seagal type movies.
And even when they're not Van Damme's, I mean, Greenland isn't.
No, they're not all.
Statham is more. Statham is formula. His movies usually are pretty cut and dry formula, right?
Yeah.
But by the way, giant Statham movie poster in Alexanderplatz. Which is coming out there. Whatever movie that released here at the end of January that he did, that was a small release. I can't remember what it was called. But anyway, it's coming to Berlin or Germany.
Nice.
I
That was
wonder what
always
they
funny.
think. I wonder what they think of Jason Statham. I wonder if he's huge there.
He's huge. I did. That was one of my favorite things when I did my semester in Europe was seeing all the ads for American movies, many of which, and it was more egregious back then because they'd almost all opened way later. So things from like 6 months ago, and seeing if it was the same poster or a completely different
Mm.
poster that they had. Anyway, Beekeeper 2, I enjoyed the first Beekeeper. It was one of his better, we're just having fun here, silly action movies. But Beekeeper 2 looks amazing. It completely is just embracing cheesy, throwback action movie stuff. And the lines in this trailer, Matt, Jeremy Irons just gets great exposition lines about the beekeepers have gone rogue. My favorite, which is the beekeepers have kidnapped the president, and Statham kills a guy with a flamethrower directly to the face and says, "Don't be such a hothead." And so I
Nice.
was
Also
in. I was
didn't
so in.
I'm trying to remember the first Beekeeper. Didn't it end in the White House?
Well, it would all have to do with yeah. It was all to do with presidential stuff. So they're going further with that. And Palm Clementif she's playing a rogue beekeeper in this. So anyway, sold.
That's all I've
sold.
ever wanted for her.
This is going to be
Yeah.
the greatest movie ever made, and that was my
And
main
Jeremy
takeaway.
Irons. Oh man, I'm looking else.
Well, he was in the
who-
first one. He was in the first one.
Oh, you know who else is in this?
Hmm.
Edge. Adam Copeland is also.
He is. I think he's also a rogue beekeeper.
Okay. All right. He's a wrestler. He's a wrestler. If you don't know,
He is. He
those
is.
listening. Okay. Now let's move to. So we already mentioned the actresses who were in the run to play. Was it Maxima in Superman?
Maxima, yeah. I mean, there's still Wonder Woman truthers who think this is all a front.
Oh,
right.
but anyway, winning this role, whether it's Maxima or Wonder Woman, is Adira Arjona from Andor. She was one of the 4 finalists that we mentioned, and she won it out. She's good. She's in good things. Even though she survived Morbius and rose like a phoenix from the ashes to do better things. So yes,
she's great. She's a real uggo, but she's great. Love her. And Michael B. Jordan. So she and Michael B. Jordan are starring in a new version of the Thomas Crown Affair. And so it literally, like, maybe the day it was announced she was got the role, that was the Amazon MGM panel that night. So Michael B. Jordan introduced her as DC's newest hero, or the DCU's new hero. And she got to come on stage. So Man of Tomorrow, filming now. They announced that it was about to go in production at CinemaCon. It is now filming.
I think I said Adira. It's Adria.
Okay. You did, and I believe yes, that's correct. She's posting her big workout videos now. Yeah, getting buff, getting swole for Superman Man of Tomorrow.
Oh, okay. I thought she was like she's doing a bunch of workout video. I mean,
No.
I'm thinking like straight to DVD jazzercise shit. I was
No,
like,
no.
I mean, I know everyone's got a side hustle these days, but like
That's She's doing good.
she's also in something called Scorn.
Swarm.
And she's also Scorn.
Swarm.
She's also Scorn is my master. She's also in the next Wingard movie. With Dan Stevens.
Oh, okay. You know, the way you said that, Adam Wingard, the director, but it sounded like it was a franchise. I was forgetting, like the next Wingard.
The Windgarders, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, is this a young adult thing?
Eric,
Like...
she's in the 3rd Guardians of Ga'Hoole movie.
I'm in. All right.
And then the Elden Ring movie, which is A24's most expensive movie ever that they've made, which is it's like $100 million movie, and it is basically. Alex Garland is doing this Elden Ring movie, which, by the way, I played Elden Ring. I beat the first main world boss. It's not my type of video game. It's too hard for an old man like me. The story of Elden Ring, I could not tell you one thing about what happened. It is a fantasy realm, but as far as I could tell, you just go around and anything happens at any time from anything. So I could tell you who's in the movie, but even if they told me who they were playing, I would be like, I don't know. I was like,
Matt, you're supposed to be the expert here on this.
No, I'm no Elden Ring expert. As the boss I beat was so hard that I pulled was it a Krakow thing? Which is like, I'm satisfied I beat it. Which is like
that was
for me,
that was Jared Hirsch, who I don't even know if you've ever met.
Different.
Yeah.
Which is to say, I pretended that was the final boss of the game, and it worked for me. I guess you could say Alex Garland faves or his players. I guess if you count Civil War, because Callie Speeney's in it.
But she was also in Devs. She is absolutely an Alexander.
Yeah. And Nick Offerman, also in Devs, is in it. And Ben Whishaw, I don't know if they worked together before. Kit Connor, who I didn't see Warfare, but you did. Tom Burke, who you would know as the dude who was not Mad Max in Furiosa. And he's also in Black Bag. And Jonathan Pryce. Anyway, it's got a fun cast. Emma Laird from 28 from Bone Temple is in it.
Yeah, a huge Alex Garland favorite, Sonoya Mizuno, who Ex Machina, she popped up in Civil War. She was the lead in Devs, is in this. And then for me, who
Peter
knows
Serafinowicz, anyway.
Nothing about Elden Ring. I like Alex Garland a lot, so I'll be intrigued, but I have no stake in anything about Elden Ring. But for me, the main reason to be excited is this is a Bottoms reunion for Havana Rose Liu and Ruby Cruz. Two of the main cast of Bottoms are in this movie, and I'd like to believe it's because Alex Garland loves Bottoms. Everyone should love Bottoms, so there you go.
We were just talking about a movie where they were casting from a certain comedy, and whether it was coincidence, and we were trying to think if the person actually just really loved this comedy.
Okay. Damn it. I don't know. The first thing I'm thinking of, which is not what you're talking about, is the fact that Ready or Not 2 had, multiple people from the faculty and from the short-lived CW show Ringer. But I don't know what I know.
It wasn't that. It was more. It was a bigger director than that. And I think nothing against Radio Silence, but like,
no.
Yeah. Anyway, it wasn't like Ryan Coogler or something. Maybe it was Ryan Coogler and Station 11. Maybe that was it because of X-Files.
By the way,
I was like, maybe he's a big Station 11 fan. Anyway,
has an aside, because you're mentioning this would be A24's most expensive movie. Just want to mention the drama just broke 100 million, and very few very few A24 movies have done that. This also is now past Challengers, which was one of their bigger hits.
So the key is Zendaya.
Zendaya is Michi, and she's a box office hit, and A24 getting another kind of big win with that movie. Right.
We have one write-in, Eric, this week, and I'll just keep it short here, which is Scott wrote in, and it's germane to our Spielberg run, which we're doing right now. We have one more left, which is Ready Player One, before we move on to our next run. Scott writes in, "Hey guys, just starting the Spielberg movies. I love Jurassic Park, but I must say I found Close Encounters to be so boring. Not sure if it was just the slower pace, the open-ended story, lack of dialogue, and a lot of scenes, or just the whirring noises. I will say, though, that I gained a little bit more of an appreciation for it after listening to your episode and hearing you point out things I miss or misunderstood. Keep up the great work, and hopefully I enjoy AI more than this." Scott, write back and let us know what you thought of AI.
I love Close Encounters, but I also get that of a lot of these early Spielberg movies, it doesn't have quite the imprint. Certainly when you sandwich between and obviously at 1941 being the big miss, but sandwich between Jaws, Raiders, E.T., Close Encounters is beloved, but not on that scale. And
I think one of the things we pointed out, I think when we were talking about it, is that it was important at the time. It was Spielberg, and it was a big spectacle with the effects in the third act, but it was possibly the first time, it got people to see it again. It's a grown-up alien movie, which is to say it wasn't a horror movie. It wasn't a B movie. It wasn't like Space Vampires from Mars. It was like treated like almost like a prestige drama about alien encounters. And it brought people to a sci-fi movie who wouldn't see sci-fi movies. Like it was like the same way that a lot of big movies like, Sinners would bring people to see a vampire movie who wouldn't go see a horror movie. Like there was just bigger directors can do these broader takes on things. I'm sure a lot of people saw Jaws who would never see a horror movie, right? At all. So
yeah. So I think Close Encounters, I think it's great, but I also understand it is a more, slow burn. It's not as exciting, and I'm not like, how dare you? Because it's not, and I don't think it's.
I mean, I don't love Close Encounters. I think it's good, but I've already.
I think it's great, but I still don't think it's top tier Spielberg, and I guess that's saying something about how many amazing movies that he's made.
All right. Yeah, that's all I got. Right into weenjoypodcast@gmail.com. Message us
Mhm.
on Patreon or on Discord or whatever. All these, there's ways to reach us and
There's
write
ways
in
to
your
reach
thoughts
us.
and feelings and emotions. Eric, I have not seen well, I'll tell you. So I watched The Proposal on the Plane. I also watched The Housemaid, which you had recommended and I had not seen, and it was a lot of fun. Especially, it's always fun watching, sex scenes on planes.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Now that they allow you, now that you can again, you know what I mean? They
Yeah.
used to edit movies for planes and they just cut them out.
Now they're like, screw that. Just you were
Well,
gonna
that's
watch.
back when we all watched the same thing. When we were
Yeah.
growing up, there was one little monitor and it was on the ceiling, and you can get headphones, and everyone would watch the same edited bullshit movie. Then the TV started coming in front, but now they're just like you can watch anything. So yeah, Housemaid was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that, and I also watched the new Anaconda, which was not good.
It wasn't. I don't
No,
know why.
it was one scene that made me laugh, but that's all
Yeah,
I got.
yeah.
It got one laugh out of me.
It had a couple chuckles, but I don't know why. Yeah, it was too bad because I think there was a fun, with that cast, with the meta approach, I think there could have been something pretty fun there. But yeah, just didn't have much life to it, that movie.
It did
Uh,
not. Yeah.
I was just gonna say on planes that the whole like that they used to edit because there's two things. Like there's the like I always remember having to catch up on Black Sails when I was going to the set of Black Sails. So I was kind of turning my laptop away as I was watching because that has a lot of very naked sex scenes. But then the fact that just on your personal monitors they don't edit things. And one of the funniest literally, but also because of what was on screen, Matt, was 7 Days in Hell, which was the HBO uh, sports mockumentary starring Andy Samberg and Kit Harington about tennis, because it has a bunch of dick and balls in it. Like it's like one of those
Well, it's HBO.
it's
so
HBO, and the human anatomy can be used comedically quite well. So just the fact that like on my screen it's just suddenly like close-ups of like here's this dude's dick, and being like, oh yeah, that's what I'm watching, guys. It's all
But
good.
this is my recommendation,
Mm.
which is a movie that I had seen before, but I hadn't in a while. So I watched it again. I mean, I own it digitally, but I was like, I could have just watched it at home. But I was like, hey, The Plane. I haven't seen this. It's called About Time. Have you seen About Time with Domhnall Gleeson and Rachel McAdams?
No, I'm hyper aware of it, but I've never seen it.
Really good. I know Richard Curtis gets a lot of shit because people retroactively now hate Love Actually and say it's the worst thing ever. I think wasn't that the discourse?
I think it's become it's one of it's the most controversial movie of our time.
It is, yeah. It's the last temptation of Christ of our
Yeah.
era. But he's Richard Curtis is a great writer director. Notting Hill, the Bridget Jones Diary movies, et cetera, et cetera. But anyway, Four Weddings and a Funeral, which is like his American breakout. But About Time is great. It is a romantic comedy, but it's also a dramedy, and it's about a young man who learns from his father, played by Bill Nighy, that the men in this family are able to time travel. And if they go into a dark room and close their eyes and close their fists and they just think of a time in the past, they can go back in time. And so while you might think that this is sort of like, oh, he gets many, many chances to do things over and stuff like that, it is that, but it's also like about all the things he can't control. And this comes into play when he meets a woman played by Rachel McAdams and sort of falls for her during sort of a meet cute, and then does use the time travel to maybe try to do things over again, or when he misses her, tries to see her again. But it also comes into play in a much more dramatic effect as the movie goes on and as their relationship grows. And anyway, it's great. It's heartbreaking, but it's also funny, and it's technically a sci-fi movie, I guess, but it's not treated like that at all because it's not treated. There are very specific sort of rules for this type of time travel, as all time travel movies do. But he is great, and Rachel McAdams is always funny and charming. And yeah, I recommend About Time. Also, I had forgotten completely Margot Robbie's in the movie, and this was one of her earlier roles for American Eyes, this came out in 2013. This movie, so I recommend About Time.
So was this before or after Wolf of Wall Street? I can't remember now when Wolf of Wall Street.
I think that was like 2010 or something.
Oh, okay. All right. My recommendation.
No, it was the same year.
Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah, that makes more sense. Maybe she did this right before. My recommendation is the just completed second season of Jury Duty: Company Retreat. And I'm 90% sure I recommended the first season of Jury Duty 3 years ago.
You did, yeah.
Yeah, but they came back and they did it again, and I'm very impressed that they pulled it off again, which is to say they pulled it off as far as like the ruse, but also pulled it off as far as an entertaining show that could kind of do the same thing but do it well again. Because like the first season, it's essentially a prank show that is
it's the Joe Blow show.
It's the Joe Blow show, or Joe Schmo show.
Joe Schmo show.
Yeah. Of like, that except without the pretense that Joe Schmo show, he thought he was on a reality show. In these situations, they're putting people in things where they think that they're being filmed for a documentary, but that every single person around them is an actor. They are the only real person. And it has, the first, you can tell by the subtitle. First season was Jury Duty. Second season is a guy who's hired last minute as a temp for a small company that's about to do their company retreat. And also, oh, by the way, we're filming a little documentary about our company. And at this company retreat in Agora Hills, where I went to summer camp for many years, not the same exact location, but nearby, where there's a lot of camp stuff. What happens here? And it's funny because the creators of Jury Duty are Lee Eisenberg and Gene Stupinski, who are longtime comedy writers who wrote for the golden age of The Office from season 2 to season 6. And it is funny to watch Company Retreat even more so because it's about a small company. It's like they're doing The Office. It's just like, what if we did The Office in real life and this one guy doesn't know we're doing The Office? Like a fake documentary is happening around him.
I have a question.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm glad to see that it still has its creative juice because I felt that way about American Vandal because I thought season 2 was great and I was glad they only did 2 seasons, which I'm also grateful for. But yeah, I thought that I was like, what can top first season of American Vandal? And season 2 was great. Secondly, is there a James Marsden style? There can't be, right?
There can't be for the whole thing because that would be crazy. But I had a feeling a certain storyline started to I'll say that there is a celebrity. I'll say who the celebrity guest is because out there that they make an excuse. We're a Los Angeles based corporate retreat and there's a reason to aim for that. I was like a celebrity's going to show up right to speak at this, has the information, and it was Sia shows up as herself and it's extremely funny what they have her say and do on one episode, not like Marsden was on the whole thing. But Marsden, by the way, comes back and hosts the like a behind the scenes wrap up show.
Oh, okay.
He's still an EP on this show. He's still making cash from this show.
My second question, is it all new people?
Yes.
Like actors?
Oh, there's one repeat actor for an incidental role they reveal. Because once again, at the end, it's really fun when the final episode and then the behind the scenes special show you the making of the show, show you what was actually happening in a bigger way and how insane it is that there's like empty cabins or so that he thinks that really have like dozens of crew people in them and how it's all actually working to make this happen. Do you have another question?
No, that was it. I wanted to know if there was a new celebrity, a new scene stealer, and if there was like basically if the Jury Duty cast and crew are like a company and like a Flanagan where they just play different characters.
No, they don't go that far. But what I did assume, because once again, casting is key here, which is that they once again clearly went out of their way because, these people are responding to listings for a temp job, but they clearly had the mandate. We have to find a really good person, like a good-hearted, kind person is
That's
key.
the Schmo show. That's the same. Yeah, there was.
And also, but then the second part, especially these days, and especially with this, is I haven't read as much on it because I binged all this when the season was over. I knew more about season 1, but I'm guessing if I look into it, just like season 1, this main guy, another key component is doesn't engage with pop culture much, isn't a big TV watcher.
They have to find a good person because this person is going to have to be acting as if, again, they're Truman showing someone, right?
Yes.
So they can't get somebody on the show and then all of a sudden in episode 3, he starts going off on how the Jews control the world, right? Like can't. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, they can't expose somebody's awfulness, like
no, and they don't want someone who just is going to be really pissy and storm off because this is ridiculous because of course the whole thing is ridiculous things are going to happen. Everything that can go wrong will go wrong, and you're kind of seeing that this person, how they'll rise to the occasion. They will be the problem solver. They will be someone who's like, I'm going to help this guy, the douchebag son of the company, who's really an actor, who's playing up this douchiness. I'm gonna be there for him in a way other people would be like, fuck this guy. And so, but the other thing is he can't have watched a lot of TV because otherwise he would recognize some of these actors.
So
Because
what they need is some like homeschooled weirdo with a really unhealthy attachment style because he can't say no and he is a people pleaser. Yeah.
I mean, this guy's he's a very sweet 25-year-old who's also a single dad. So it's like, okay, he's he's hustling, he's working multiple jobs.
Single dad, Jesus. So the other thing is, by the way, I feel like most 25-year-olds don't know our pop culture, like yours and mine, is what I mean. Which is to say, like, if James Marsden shows up, a 25-year-old is probably not going to know who that is anyway.
Well, I think in the season one guy was really knew him from Sonic. It wasn't like his deep history.
That's true. I forgot about the Sonic factor. Yeah.
But here it's more that, Matt, if you looked at their IMDb's, and it's a lot of vaguely familiar actors, good comedic actors who also have to be good at improvising. So it's not shocking if you look at a lot of them. Multiple people on the show have been, the 3 shows I think multiple people have been on multiple shows of was Always Sunny, Curb, and Superstore. Those were the 3 that I kept seeing popping up on the IMDb of season 2's cast. No, like stars. No, like there was a guy in season 1 who was really recognizable. He'd been recurring on Parks, and and he was the one a lot of viewers were like, I know that guy really well. These are people who've had 1 episode guest star roles come in, are very funny for 1 or 2 scenes, and are all very good here. Anyway, it's once again.
What if they're told they can't act again after this? So it's funny because I'm thinking of remember the movie Wag the Dog?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Kirsten Dunst plays a character who like comes on to be like someone in the fake war that they're like producing with green screen and stuff like that. But then basically I feel like, and I'm trying to remember the movie, she's told she can't act ever again after the movie because that's supposed to be real and like people can't see her in other things and know that this was an actress. So it's like it's her first and last role.
Luckily this is not going to try to fool the world forever. But yeah, it's very funny. It's legitimately by the end very sweet, again because they got a guy who's very sweet. And you feel it makes you feel good, and it's very fun. And then, like I said, I actually really like they did. I mean, it's a little indulgent, but I appreciated. There's 2 post-show specials. There's the James Marsden hosted like roundtable, but there's also a sit down between the season 1 guy and the season 2 guy, Heat style. They sit in a diner and talk. But also the behind the scenes stuff they show in the actual finale and in the roundtable is fascinating about what it takes to pull off something like this. So both seasons of Jury Duty are on Prime, and I recommend it.
First one started on, it was a freebie show, right?
It was a freebie before they folded that into Prime. Yeah.
Before Fold V. Okay. That's we went a little longer than usual when
we had a
CinemaCon checkup, stuff like that, and also bullshit tangents galore. Okay, Ready Player One is up next, and it's the final Spielberg sci-fi movie for this particular run. Eric, what are we doing after?
I don't know. We'll look it up.
I'm looking it up. I'm going to look it up right now. I'm going to tell people in case they don't listen to Ready Player One. We are doing after this.
Oh shit! I'm excited.
We're doing the Bourne movies.
Oh, we are. Okay, cool.
Starting. I mean, we do have the year planned out. We just don't remember the order of everything.
And we have a couple gaps we realize we have to fill, but we'll figure it
out. The Bourne Identity, starting that off, and the Bourne. There are like 5 movies here, right? Like, yeah, 5 Bourne movies. So we're starting with the Doug Liman original, the Bourne Identity with Matt Damon after Ready Player One. But listen to everything we do anyway. So okay. Until next time, everything is possible, but nothing is real. And Shockma.